yourself? Good stuff.
That was probably the most awkward thing I've ever done. So I've always just struggled with the idea of selling out because our viewers are so vocal on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere about either where they want the show to go or where they want to see it. And like I just decided to keep it online and go with Pharrell and Pharrell's venture because like there's 100% creative control. Like we're pretty much doing what we were doing last season with money, and it's just great. Whereas TV, like for example, I would go into all these different meetings and they would always talk about changing the idea or changing the cast, me specifically, and replacing me with like a fair-skinned video girl as opposed to what I am. And it just, all these meetings just led me to believe that one, they didn't really get the idea and they didn't really get why people identified and loved the series in the first place. And two, television isn't the end-all be-all, especially right now. So sticking online is like the best thing for me. It's like the anti-sellout, and you can because of all the opportunities online, you can afford not to sell out. If that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense. You really are that girl.
A little bit, 60 to 40%. I fluctuate.
Okay. All right. We're good. Yeah. So, I mean, you've done tons of interviews, and YouTube is your domain. You know, we're not going to break the bank as far as views.
Well,
yeah,
we're not.
Interview. Like, you know, your fans have seen lots of interviews with you. So the goal is to, like, hopefully do something a little different with the time that we have.
Okay.
As far as content, and hopefully, you know, do like you were saying with inspire other people to sort of pursue their dreams in a sense.
Okay.
So, I mean, a lot of things that we're interested in, like the earliest days of inspiration. I know how the show started, but I mean, like, can you? And she doesn't know how to make the phone.
Oh no, you can't put it off the hook, huh?
She doesn't know how. I mean, I could probably plug it. Okay, it's not really much. Like the earliest days, you said you were working a job. The first 5 episodes. What was the job?
So I was working at. Am I talking in the camera?
You can talk to me.
Okay. So I was temping for a while before I started Awkward Black Girl, and doing a lot of videography work for different events, and just really just hustling, trying to get my editing work out there, trying to, hit as many weddings as possible. And when I finally got like a 9-to-5 job, it was sort of like, it was very restrictive in terms of trying to shoot and trying to write episodes because you're so drained from doing 9-to-5 jobs. Like it's just, all the creativity is just erased from your body once you get home. But I just knew I had to make this happen, and like to me, because the response was so overwhelmingly positive, I knew that I had to continue. So yeah, I was like, bye job, let me focus on this.
That's cool. So would you say that's a key for every artist to get to that moment, that aha moment where they...
I think if it makes sense for you to quit your job and you know you're 100% confident in what you're doing, then do it. But don't just go on a whim and be like, hey, my job or this idea that I'm just starting that I'm not too sure about. I think that if you can find a way to balance both, because if you love something, you're gonna make time for it. So if you're just quitting to make time for something that you're unsure whether or not you'll be able to fully commit to, then I think that that's not a good idea. But if you're passionate, you know that you're committed to making something happen and your job is standing in the way, then bye.
So what was your aha moment? Like, was it around episode 5 that you decided to quit, or was there a moment where you went viral? I mean, what was the aha?
The aha moment for me was when I got representation. I was taking all these meetings. during the day, and they interfered with my job, and I couldn't just, like, there were only so many dental appointments I could have. And so I finally just, like, I knew that I was going to be writing more. I knew that I was going to be taking more meetings. So episode 5 was around the time when things were really, really picking up steam. And I was getting all these interviews, and I was like, it's time to leave this job, and it's not helping me in any way.
No regrets.
I have 0 regrets about leaving. Even though it was like the job was for a really, really good cause. It was helping babies, but those babies didn't need me. I was barely working anyway.
I hear you. Good stuff. So, I mean, well, thankfully you're not the chocolate rain person.
Yeah.
But
he's doing pretty well, though.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. But, I mean, you know, he was like the first guy who went viral. And I'm sure he played a lot of catch up trying to figure out how to maintain it. I mean, you have the benefit of seeing other people and their waves of success through YouTube and things like that.
Yeah.
And do you remember when you first started getting view counts and going viral with your series?
When I first started getting view counts, I mean, I always, like, I have another show, Fly Guys Present the F Word, and they had a pretty consistent viewership throughout the week. And I've been doing that show for about a year and a half before I started Awkward Black Girl. And when I released the first episode, Tone, who's one of the actors and musicians in the show, called me and was like, yo, why is your video passing ours up? Like, they were at 7,000 views and I had reached like 10,000 in a day. So I was like, what? And I was really, really excited because they have a solid fan base. And so then I knew that, you know, I guess I was onto something and that people were really identifying with this character. And then when it got into it was just really the news outlets that were reaching out to me where I was like, this has the potential to go viral, like CNN and The Root, and when Clutch Magazine and Shadow and Act, which are 2 premier blogs that I love, featured this series, the first episode, I knew that it wasn't just gonna go away.
Cool. All right, now let me just start focusing.
Okay.
I mean, it's on our auto now, the manual. All right. So then 3 questions I've always wanted to ask. I kind of asked them before. So I don't know, when you watch a show and you're not in LA, you get a sense that they're either these web series that are popping up where friends are making work, you know, together collaboratively is a reaction to frustration of trying to break into the industry, or there's something fresh that's happening there. I mean, what's your take on it?
I think I was just thinking about this the other day, that just the web has given people a voice, like a public voice that they never had before. And it's crazy how, like, on Twitter or on Facebook, I'm saying things that normally I just think. And like I was saying, that like my brain thinks in tweet and status forms. It's really ridiculous. And so, like, I feel like that's just our society right now. Our specific generation is just more inclined to voice their opinions, make things happen themselves. And I think that all these YouTube shows and series are just a part of a sort of a social media make it happen. I wish there was a better title that I could come up with to sort of identify it, but it just seems like if we don't see something we want, we're gonna voice our opinion and we're gonna make it happen for the most part. And because of the internet, you can find other people who feel the same way that you do, and like band together and they'll support it. Like, I love the internet because you can find your audience and your audience will find you. So I love that.
Cool. Now, are you from LA?
I'm from LA, Maryland, and Senegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senegal. Bougaman.
Bougaman. You want what?
Bougaman. I always thought that was go away.
Go away?
Bougaman?
Baima?
No, people always, when I went to Dakar, they would try and sell you stuff because you were and they say, okay, anytime they walk over and they see you're American, you say Bougaman, and you'd say Bougaman, and they drift off. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Maybe I got the word wrong.
Because Baima means like Leave me alone. Go away.
Baima.
Baima.
That's easier, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, boom, that must have sounded really
They need not to bother you.
What's wrong with him?
Leave him alone.
He's crazy. So you grew up in LA.
Yeah, I was born in LA, grew up in Maryland and Senegal, and then came back to LA for middle school and high school. The most traumatic, awkward experiences of my life.
So it wasn't necessarily your dream to break into show business, move to LA, move to Hollywood too?
No, though when my mom told us we were moving to LA, I was ending, it was, 5th grade was over, and my mom said we were moving to LA, and I had to leave all my friends behind, and they were the ones like, oh my God, you're going to LA, Hollywood, you're about to be a star. Mind you, I was not like trying to pursue it in any way, but they put these ideas in my head. And so when I went to LA, I was expecting open arms and like so many opportunities, but it's just the opposite. It was very traumatic. And that's where a lot of like my inspiration for Awkward Black Girl comes from. Middle school alone. Like I always say that Awkward Black Girl is just my middle school experiences set in an adult work situation.
Pretty cool. And I'm just trying to like avoid all the logical questions that you've been asked
Sure.
a gazillion times. But still good to see you. Okay, so 2 more things. Yeah, 2 more things.
Excuse me.
Advice. Like, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten along the way? Or what advice would you share with someone who has a dream of doing something similar?
That's a really good question. It's one of those things where I'll know the answer when you turn off the camera. As far as the best advice given, I can tell you the advice that I would give to people is just to stop making excuses. You're the only one stopping you, because I had to hear that myself. Like, because I'm excuse queen, I'm procrastination queen, I'm all of those, and like I would always talk about how I wanted to make this happen. I wanted to put a show out. I wanted to make this idea happen, and I want to be a writer and a producer. But once you're coming up with ways that you can't do something, you're not going to do it. So I think that stop finding the ways that you can't do something and find all the ways that you can, and just go for it.
It's wonderful to be back with this film and to tell this story from within, from inside. It is an extraordinary tale of ordinary people. It is not about any white saviors coming in to help us find water in a well. It's about how there is genius everywhere.
Tackling that.
I think the key word you used is a myth. Things are only real when people make them real. I'm a guy who's now traveling the world, and my movies go internationally because I believe that it could. I think that there's other actors of color that are doing the same things. Now, is there a diversity issue? Of course. But you don't break it down by focusing on the issue. You break it down by promoting the people that are moving in the right way.